Welcome to the podcast where we bring on remarkable people to tell their stories.
I'm Paul Gilman.
I'm Daniel Lance.
And this is Pod So 1.
Mia Blansett is an ER nurse who transferred to a hospital in northern New Jersey to work 12-hour days on the COVID front lines. She's a self-described spitfire with plenty of opinions on the pandemic situation and has great takes on what it's like on the ground. Here's Mia. My understanding is that you left New Jersey to go somewhere
Southern Jersey to Northern Jersey.
So you left to go to like one of the hotter spots so that you could contribute.
Right. So I guess now like 8 weeks ago, this all kind of started. And I am a full-time emergency room nurse at Virtual Voorhees. And prior to all this, we were seeing between 150, 200 patients a day. And that was our norm. This hit, and we dropped down to seeing about 60 patients a day. So our hours were cut, our overtime was cut, we were being flexed before our shifts would even start. And actually one day on Facebook, I saw a message someone had posted that University Hospital in Newark was severely desperate for emergency room nurses. So the next day I decided, let's see if I can help. I emailed their CNO, and later that day I had an email back with an HR recruiter asking me when I was available to come up, and I went up on a Thursday to do my paperwork, and I started work on Monday.
Wow.
And so
they wanted you quick.
Oh yeah. So the Monday that I started, they said this Saturday before, they only had 6 ER nurses available.
And what's a normal number?
I think a normal shift, we have like 24.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. University's a level 1 trauma center. So we have a main ED, which consists of 21 beds and like 7 hallways. We have a mid-track, a fast track, and a pediatric ED, and our own crisis unit.
And
so
an
like,
ED is an emergency
department.
Okay.
Oh, we probably could have figured that one out.
So it's funny, like it seems kind of not intuitive that the demand dropped at Voorhees, where you were originally working. Why do you think that was, especially with all the pandemic stuff going on?
So I think one reason, honestly, people finally realized that coming to the emergency room for dumb stuff wasn't necessary. So they were like, oh my goodness, there's a pandemic. I guess this abdominal pain that I've had for 6 months, I really don't need to go to the emergency room for.
Oh, wow.
And so I think that's one thing. I also think that people were scared. One thing that I credit the huge difference between North Jersey and South Jersey is our living situations. Up in North Jersey, they all live on top of each other. They're all apartment living, row homes. And down here, I mean, we're pretty spaced out. We don't have many apartment buildings. We don't have, so we are at a social distance in our everyday life. We don't have the public transportation that they all take. I mean, still to this day, when I just was up there yesterday working, the bus stops still every morning on my way to the hospital are stacked of people. So like, they're all still going somewhere. I don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere. And social distancing just doesn't happen up there. And I think down here, people were actually listening and staying home. And I think they did a good job. I know it is absolutely horrible for the small businesses and everything, but the bosses listened. They didn't make their workers come to work and stuff like that. So I think that played a huge impact on us not seeing the numbers down here that they're seeing up there.
So Mia, how long have you been a nurse?
So actually, what's today? 3 days on the 18th it will be 3 years since graduation. And I started, thanks, July 10th is when I started at Virtual 40s. So that will be my 3 years as an emergency room nurse.
So what brought you to nursing?
It was a little bit of a long road, but I first went to college right after high school. I went to William Patterson University, and I became an athletic trainer. And it just wasn't for me. It was something that I just thought that I was going to love, and just not how it worked out. So I went through multiple careers. After that, I became an EMT. I did that for a few years, and then I became a medical assistant. Did that for quite a few years. And then we've all had those days where like we have a horrible day at work and we apply for jobs that like we grasp at anything that maybe I qualify for. And I somehow became a teacher of medical assistants. And so that was an amazing opportunity. I absolutely loved it. I did that. I taught though down in West Atlantic City. So it was a little bit of a commute, but I did it for a little over 3 years. And unfortunately, my mom then got diagnosed with dementia back home, and that became my priority. So then I decided I needed something closer to home, which was Medford. And so I started working as a critical care tech at Cooper Hospital. I did that, and I was like, all right, I got to figure something out that's going to be a career. Not that medical assistant tech is not a career. However, I wanted something a little bit more. So I found out that Rutgers in Camden, they're like the only school in New Jersey that doesn't make you retake your sciences if they're longer than 10 years. And so I was like, perfect, I'll apply to Rutgers. If I don't get in, I don't get in. But if it's meant to be, I'll get in. So let's give it a shot.
You were probably the most experienced applicant out of everybody.
Yeah. But did you know I didn't get in? So I actually got put on the wait list. Yep. So I didn't get in my first application. I got put on the wait list, but I did end up getting to start that semester. Somebody didn't take their spot. So I actually got in, and I did the accelerated BSN program, and it was a lot of hard work.
What does BSN stand for?
Bachelor of Science of Nursing.
Right on.
And so it was 15 months of pure chaos and tears shed almost every day, but it was worth it in the end, and one of the best decisions I've ever made.
So you bounced around a little bit, but it was all in medicine. What's drawn you to medicine the entire time?
I think probably just my love for helping people. I like to have an impact on other people's lives. I like to be able to touch people's lives. And I think the medical and then the teaching on top of it just showed me that like, that's what I was meant to do. Like I was meant to have an impact on people's lives somehow. And nursing, I think is phenomenal what we do. I don't think we're heroes. I think it's the job that we have the passion for. And that's what we were meant to do. And not everyone as a nurse is good at it, but they learn it. And
so as a nurse and as somebody who's on the quote unquote front lines, how do you feel about all this new love and appreciation and all these companies putting ads out saying, thank you, our frontline heroes? Like, what's your response to that?
I mean, I appreciate it. I'm not going to lie. I actually haven't taken advantage though of anything, I don't think. I've tried a couple days for like the free Crocs, but I haven't done like the North Face. I didn't even get a free Happy Meal at McDonald's just because, but yeah, I haven't taken advantage of any of it, honestly.
Wow. So tell us, like, what is it that you do in your day-to-day as a nurse right now, as an ER nurse specifically?
So it's completely changed in the last 8 weeks. It went from I wore my scrubs every day to work, and I would see my patients. We'd see a lot of abdominal pains, cardiac, the crisis patients, whatever we needed. And it drastically changed. Now, Well, 8 weeks ago when it first started, all we wore was just a surgical mask, which is like what people are wearing around town and stuff like that. Actually, truthfully, we were told originally that we couldn't even wear a surgical mask at all times because it terrorized the patients. And
What does that mean?
yes, so we were not allowed, we were told you cannot wear a mask at all times. You could wear one when you enter the room if you needed to or wanted to, but when you were at the desk, when you were in the hallway, it was not to be worn. And as this lovely pandemic rolled along, it changed drastically. Where we started originally, it was every respiratory patient, you would put an N95 on to enter the room. Then it was every patient wearing N95 when you enter the room. Then it was, you're now wearing N95 for 12 hours straight. Even when you're sitting at the desk, you're wearing an N95. It has now, as of yesterday, we are to wear our N95, our gown, our gloves, and eyewear, which I've been wearing forever since it all started basically anyways. But now they're mandating that all nurses, whenever you enter any patient's room, respiratory, not respiratory, you're wearing eye gear, goggles, or a face shield. And I find it amazing how drastically everything has changed. I myself, not gonna lie, I wear the same, well, I don't wear scrubs anymore. I wear a pair of scrub pants and I wear a different t-shirt every day that has positive messages on them. Because I believe positivity goes a long way. But I don't change at work. I don't wipe down my car. I don't put plastic over my car. I come home to house by myself with my cats. So I don't take the precautions that people with family and kids and all that do. But a lot of nurses they wear clothes in, they put their scrubs on, they change at the end of shift, and then go home in regular clothes. Because, I mean, our scrubs are obviously covered in it.
Yeah. So when I grocery shop, which takes like 10, 15 minutes, I get really tired of wearing my mask because it's just annoying. I feel like I'm suffocating slowly. What is it like to do it for 12 hours along with all the other gear?
It's horrible. At the age of 38, I started getting pimples again, which was not fun because like you are just literally sitting in your own sweat in your face. So
all the sebaceous stuff.
Fun. Yep, not fun. And it's hard to breathe. Like during codes and during intense situations like intubation, stuff like that, we're wearing these plastic gowns every room we go in, which make you sweat. And so like when you can be in there for a good 45 minutes, hour at a time. And I mean, you're dripping wet. One day, I can't remember if it was a code or an intubation, but when I got out of the room, my watch thought that I have an Apple Watch. It thought that I was swimming. Like, I think it's because there was so much sweat surrounding it. Like, there was literally just sweat just in my, like, wrist. It was so gross.
What did your T-shirt say yesterday?
So yesterday I was in Newark, so I wear scrubs when I'm in Newark.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. But the day before, my last shirt of Voorhees was "You are stronger than you think."
Nice.
Yeah.
Are any of these handmade or are they all store-bought?
Yeah, no. I bought them all on Walmart.com or Zulily. One of my favorite ones is "Spread kindness, not germs."
Nice.
How relevant.
Yeah. I have one that says, "You may see me struggle, but you'll never see me quit." Like, and I have a lot to say, like, "Let's do this. You got this." And it's become a thing at work. Like people be like, "All right, Mia, what's your shirt say today?" And so
that's cool.
Yeah, I love it. I think that during this trying time, it's become obviously a very high stressed time. Even in Voorhees, where we're not seeing nearly what we're seeing in Newark, people are still very highly stressed, very on edge. And so like you can say one little thing to them and it just sets them off. And I mean, I understand everyone is under more stress. And so a little bit of positivity can go a long way. And I think that coming together as a team has shown even more now that we're going through all of this. That one of my favorite sayings is teamwork makes the dream work. And we couldn't be doing this right now without the teamwork, because once you're in one of those rooms, you're stuck in there. Like, if you get in your room and you're like, oh, shoot a rabbit, I don't have this, you got to hope that your buddy's outside the door. If your buddy's not outside the door, then you have to wait for someone else to walk by the door. And so it does get a little bit, sometimes you're like,
so
is anyone coming?
What is this getting locked in rooms? Is that because they're trying to contain the patient?
Yeah. So at Virtual Voorhees, we're fortunate. Every single ER room in our main has doors. So every door at all times has to be closed now. Because one of the hardest things about COVID is that it causes so many different signs and symptoms. Like when we first started, we were all like, oh, just respiratory or just like this. But now it's nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, anyone with a fever, anyone with shortness of breath, anyone with a cough. So basically everyone is on quarantine and you're presumed positive until proven otherwise. And
it's like when you go on WebMD and you say like, oh, I have a headache or my stomach hurts. And then it's like, you have cancer. Instead, now it's like you have COVID probably.
COVID. Yep. Oh, and I can't tell you how many people come in and they're like, so what brings you today? Oh, I got the symptoms. Oh, well, what symptoms would that be? You know, the symptoms that they said on TV. Okay, well, what symptoms are you having? All of them. Of course you are. Ma'am, are you just here for a test? Yeah, I need a test. Like, it's literally, we see it nonstop.
Do you have all the test kits you need?
Oh, yeah. Both places, we've never run out of tests or anything like that. And there's different tests, especially up in Newark. They have like a rapid test that, well, I wouldn't call it rapid, but quicker than normal. It comes back in like 2 hours. So that's nice. So that way when they're in the ER, we collect it as soon as they get there. Because most ER patients, you're down there for at least 2 hours before you would go up to a room anyways. So it's done before. When this all first started, like Voorhees, when we first got our test, they were taking 7 to 10 business days to come back.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when you discharged anyone that was tested anyways, they were technically on 14-day quarantine. However, like I wouldn't want to have been that patient waiting 10 days to get a result. Like, so now it's definitely changed. I think even at Voorhees now, the one for the patients that are being discharged is like 2 days. The one in the hospital, like if you're being admitted, it does seem to just take a couple hours or so.
Cool.
So
when people come into the ER for not COVID related things, well, first of all, I mean like car accidents, like is that happening? And when that happens, do you still swab for COVID?
So we have at Virtual Voorhees, we have like a separate unit. So in our main ED is where anyone that has any COVID possibility would go. And then in our, what used to be our fast track area, that is where like a motor vehicle accident, as long as they don't have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, cough, shortness of breath, then they would go there. So they're separated from the plague. Like it's ridiculous, but a lot less of those people are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, people still have kidney stones. People still get infections. So we're still treating all of them. Up in Newark, when I first started, there was no separating. It was everywhere. I mean, and up in Newark also, we don't have doors on our rooms. So it's just like the bay style rooms that have the curtains around them. And so, I mean, you try your best to get your COVID positive intubated patients in the couple rooms that are negative pressure with doors, but up there you couldn't, there's no way you don't have enough room for all of them. So
what is what is intubating, and is it COVID positive, like people that just test positive, or people that literally can't breathe?
So COVID positive is anyone who tests positive for COVID, and intubation is when we put a breathing tube down your throat to an artificial airway, and then you're hooked to a ventilator, which is then breathing for you.
So Mia, if I came into Voorhees as a patient, I have a broken arm, or I suspect I have a broken arm, but I also have diarrhea. Which way am I going?
If I'm in triage, you're going to Maine because I'm not taking the chance.
Yeah, as soon as you said diarrhea, it's like, no thanks.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow. So this positivity theme, the shirts that you wear, and you said that it's like an important thing in your life. That I'm assuming that goes back before all this COVID business. Tell us about like how positivity has been something important in your life.
So I just think positivity goes a long way. One thing that I've learned in my multiple jobs is you don't usually get that positivity from your manager, from your boss. And so I feel like the staff, you have to be the ones that give the positivity. Once in a blue moon, yes, you'll get the positivity, but from higher ups, but it's not a frequent daily thing. So if we can help each other by being positive amongst each other and saying like, hey, thank you so much for helping me the other day. I was drowning and you came over and you helped. Like, it's greatly appreciated. Like, literally a simple thank you goes a long way. And you don't always hear that, especially in an emergency department. We're kind of savage, I guess you could say. And so,
what do you mean by that?
They say ER nurses were a little rough around the edges, that it takes a certain type of crazy to be an ER nurse. And I would probably have to agree. Where, like, I could never be a floor nurse. Nothing against them. I don't have the calm demeanor. I wouldn't be able to just pass out meds all day and just wait around. I like that quickness that comes with the emergency room.
So a floor nurse does a lot of passing out meds and like talk more about the differences. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put words in your mouth. But like,
no, it's all right. I'm not gonna. So I can't say exactly I know what they do because I've never been one. But in my eyes, like they have sometimes 4 or 5 patients a day, and they can have those same 4 or 5 patients for their entire 12 hours. And so I normally, when we're busy, I'll have like 10, 15 patients a day, depending on what area of the ED I'm in. And it's that quick turnover. You're getting worked up, you're either going home or going upstairs. You don't hang, well, during flu season, sometimes we have holds, and in Newark right now we have holds just because we're so busy. But normally, like, I'm not giving patients their daily meds. I'm giving them meds that they need in the emergency room to make them feel better now. And I'm not giving just normal old, like, daily meds.
So what other kind of what other things are your duties? Like there's intubating, there's giving people meds. Like, what else do you on a day-to-day?
Every patient so when a patient first comes into your room, you do a full triage, which is like you get the information on why they're here today, their past medical history, surgical history, social history, all of that. And then 98% of all ER patients get an IV. So you got to drop a line, get all their blood work, everything like that. One thing that changed a lot also during this was that we would almost hang fluids on everyone. In my mind, fluids cure all, makes everyone feel better. But with COVID, they found that fluids were doing more harm than good. And so, like, I myself, like, I wouldn't hang fluids on anyone at first without the doctor going in and telling me to do it because I didn't want to cause any more harm than good.
Wow. So it's really like flipping things on their head.
Yeah. Yep. And then after you drop your line, you wait for the doc to see them, and then you would medicate them, wait for them to get any like radiology studies that they have to get. And depending on that, they go home or they go upstairs. And it's next.
Gotcha. So you've been going to Newark for how long? 6 weeks or so? Longer?
I don't even know, honestly. I think 4 weeks, maybe now, 4 or
Okay.
5.
Have you had any issues with running out of beds in Newark?
Oh, yeah. So when I first got up there, we had holds every day in the ED. Like our ICU intubated patients were in the ED for a day, 2 days at a time. Even yesterday, we had some patients that were holding in the ED. And it's just, I think it's not that we're running out of beds, it's we're running out of staff. Like even at Virtua Voorhees, because our census dropped so low, they shut down floors.
Wow.
Like, yeah, they just shut them down. And so as our need increased, they would bring back the nurses and open the floors. But like at Voorhees, our ICU was like 1 floor, our PCU was 1 floor. It got to the point where ICU had to take over the PCU, and the PCU moved to like a whole other floor. In Newark, their hospital's humongous.
So a PCU is a preventative care unit?
Progressive.
Ah,
You were so close.
I know.
It did start with a P.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
But even in Newark, like one day, I went to a call report, and the nurse was like, I can't take another one. There's 2 of us on this floor. And they had like 10 patients each. Like,
It's just too much.
Yeah.
So when you talk about a day or 2 hold, typically there wouldn't be any hold or very short hold.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. And so a day or 2 hold, did you get to a point where you couldn't see people right away? You couldn't triage them right away?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's days where everyone should be triaged right away if you come in. The triage nurse is in the lobby. And, not like immediately, because if there's a line, but everyone gets a triage when they first come in. And then it's the job of the triage nurse to decide who needs to come right back, where they need to go, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, in Newark, there was one day, I think there was like a 6-hour wait in the lobby.
Oh,
Right.
people were, you want to talk about anxiety. Put somebody in an ER line for 6 hours.
Yeah, with everybody else that's all anxious too.
Right, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, in Voorhees, we've not during the crisis, but previously we've had 6-hour waits at Voorhees too, especially during like the normal flu season and stuff like that.
What's the craziest thing you've seen in Newark the last 4 weeks?
I think just all the intubations, like not everyone, but there's just so many intubated patients. And another thing is like when a patient's intubated, the vents, they're all different because I guess they got them because of the crisis. Like people sent them all different types of vents. So like you go into your patient's room and you're like, respiratory, can you come just show me the vent real quick? For the first time ever, I had a patient that had an A line, which is a line that goes right into their artery. And in Voorhees, they're not allowed in the emergency room. They can do them on the ICU, but they're not placed in the ER. So I had never touched one. And a couple weeks ago, I am in a report and they're like, so 21 has an A line. I'm like, a what? And they're like, an A line. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've never touched one. So like I made sure that was like the first room I went in. Not gonna lie, I struggled a little bit, but I called for help. I am a person, I will never ever hesitate to ask for help.
Were you the one administering the A line?
No. It was already in, thank God.
Okay. So you were making sure that they were stable and
right, like you use the A line for like their medications and stuff like that.
Oh.
You can draw blood off
right into their artery.
Why?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying right into their artery. That's like intense.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Yeah, and why? Like, is it just because it's a more powerful blood vessel?
So only certain meds can go through like an A line, and also when someone's that sick, so an A line is going to measure their arterial pressure, and so it's really important when someone's so sick to make sure that they're maintaining their arterial pressure, because when people are sedated, their pressures can drop, and so you need to make sure that you maintain everything.
Oh, okay. So that helps with like the beeping computer, and if it goes below a certain level, it goes like
There you go. Perfect. That
Okay.
explains telemetry to a T.
Yeah, I watch CSI or what's the
Yes,
what's no it's
CSI is where people have already been harmed.
yeah, they're dead already.
no, it's what's that hospital drama I'm thinking of?
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, she said. Grey's
Oh,
Anatomy.
I'm sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
hear that. Yeah. My girlfriend loves that show.
Hey, so
That's
Mia, positivity is awesome, and I think it's a great way to go through life. But you can't be perfectly positive all the time.
Oh no, we all still complain, and I have gained a new respect going to Newark. I say that I will never complain again at Voorhees. We are so spoiled in Voorhees. We're very fortunate for working for Virtua and the accommodations that we have at Voorhees compared to what they see and deal with in Newark. Like something as simple as having IV carts in all of our rooms at Voorhees, where in Newark, I have to gather all of my supplies before I go into a room. And I won't lie, I'm struggling to remember every single little piece of the puzzle before I walk in a room.
Yeah,
So-
and a room there it's open bay, right? It's really just curtains.
Correct, which is a lot easier because I can be like, hey, Melissa, can you grab me this? And so it works a whole lot better. Like I don't even have to move and everyone can always hear me wherever I am. But yeah.
So you do a 12-hour shift in Newark, and it sounds like it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Are you just exhausted by the end of those shifts?
So I'm exhausted. Yes. Yesterday was day 6 of 6. I did 5 days at Voorhees, and then I just had 1 day at Newark. And I'm not gonna lie, I slept almost all day today.
I bet. What keeps
Yeah.
you going? What keeps you going, mentally, emotionally, and physically?
I think mentally, what keeps me going is just the drive that I'm needed. I need to be there, especially up in Newark. The staff there is so appreciative of myself and all the other travelers that have come to help. The Army is there helping, and the staff has been phenomenal. Like my first day, I walked into this place and I was like, what did I get myself into? And up there I had a day and a half of orientation and I was on my own. So they have been amazing with helping me learn things. I learned there in 1 day things I'll never ever get to experience at Voorhees. And so I love that. Emotionally, I think I don't know. I feel like I've been doing pretty good emotionally. I have a bunch of coworkers and friends that have been like checking in on me, just saying, hey, like weekly check-in, how you feeling? How you doing? I was doing absolutely amazing emotionally until last Saturday when my Jeep brand new 2020 Jeep Wrangler that I had for 18 hours. 18 hours. A gentleman ran a red light and smothered it.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, that was the straw that broke my back emotionally. But I'm coming back from that.
Wow. So I'm guessing that means that you have to ride the motorcycle all the way up to Newark for work now.
Well, no, I have my other car too.
Dang.
That's a nice segue though.
The vision of like of a nurse, I'm like envisioning you in scrubs, just burning it up the highway because there's no traffic either, really.
Well, so the first couple of weeks, it was so nice. There was none. Today, I sat in traffic coming home from North Jersey.
What?
Yep.
But all businesses aren't open in Newark, right?
There's a lot that are open. Like when I'm driving to and from work, like a lot of like, I think they call them bodegas or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Yep.
They're all open. Like all the food places are open. 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, like we had a Sunday that was like really, really nice out. I was driving home from work. There were block parties on almost every street that I drove down. And I'm like, and there's my patient that I'm going to see next week. And I'll see him next week. And that also increased our traumas that were coming in. because people were just out in the street, right back to pretending it was a normal life. And that's what worries me, especially right now. Like, me personally, I'm a beach person, so yes, I will be at the beach tomorrow, but I won't be sitting on top of anyone, like, and I don't think that the beach itself opening is a bad idea. The boardwalk, I don't think should be open. I get a little on a soapbox when people say that everything needs to reopen for these poor small business owners, these poor people that are out on unemployment. Listen, my heart breaks for you that you're not working. Trust me, I would be bored out of my mind if I wasn't working. However, you're making $600 a week extra that you weren't making before to sit at home and staying safe. That's the most important thing. You're safe. Like, stay safe for as long as you can. Like, so I feel like them opening things, we're going to see another surge come right on through.
Yeah. So these block parties that you saw a couple of Sundays ago, is the word not getting out? Are people just not taking the messaging seriously? I mean, what's causing that many people?
I don't think they care. Like, it blew my mind when the next day I was like, did anyone else drive by these like block parties? And they're like, oh, that's like every weekend up here. I'm like, during the COVID? Like, come on. And they're like, well, they don't really listen to like what we have to say. I'm like, obviously. Like, it was insane the amount of people that were just on the streets, like speakers, DJs. I'm like, all right. So social distancing is not a thing in North Jersey.
So how do you think this is going to play out? Because, you were saying, stay home and stay safe for as long as you can. What is the end, do you think, going to be?
Sorry, my cat is trying to visit me.
Oh, hello.
This is Cam Newton.
That's good.
Cam Newton.
That's Cam Newton.
All right.
Nope, that's his butt. Sorry. Did you say when do I think this is going to end?
Yeah, I guess just like how, because, we all heard the flatten the curve story,
Right.
Stay home, flatten the curve so we don't overload the hospital system.
Yeah.
When will the curve be done? I guess,
So this is certainly, like, I'm not a scientist by any means. I don't claim to be. So I think that during the summer months, our curve might like remain the same. I actually think we're going to see an influx. Like, after things open, I think we'll see an influx like 2 to 3 weeks after that. And then we might like go back down a little bit for the summer. But I think that when flu season comes, we're going to not only see the flu, we're going to see COVID come back around also.
Wow.
So
And do you think it's going to
have
be like with us, year after year?
I don't know about year after year. I mean, I hope that it will be done in 2020. That might be wishful thinking, but yeah, no, it's going to go into 2021 now that I'm thinking about it because of flu season. But I think life will get back to normal at some point, but I don't think it needs to get back to normal anytime soon. And my heart goes out mostly to the parents that are homeschooling their children. I couldn't imagine to have to do that.
Yeah. Let's just say I work from home most days, and my wife is doing 3 times as much as I'm doing because we have 3 kids, and they're all being homeschooled now. Yeah.
And she's a teacher, right?
Yeah, but she's an aide. So.
Oh, okay.
But my wife is from North Jersey.
Okay.
And you're right. They are stacked on top of each other up there.
They are.
Yeah.
I had a patient the other day. 11 family members live in a 2-bedroom apartment. Like, that's just, it's sad. It breaks my heart up there. And it's funny. I've been told multiple times there, a lot of people question, like, you're not from around here, are you? And I'm like, well, I'm from New Jersey. They're like, yeah, but you're not from up here. I'm like, no. And they're like, you're just so nice. I'm like,
oh, they expect Jerseyites to be
I guess.
not nice.
Yeah, like yesterday I had this poor little old man that thanked me probably 100 times. And he's like, it's just so nice to have someone that's so pleasant, like, and wanting to help. And like, you came from your home to come up here to help us. Like,
Wow.
well, it's the smallest thing I could do.
Well, it seems like the positivity is certainly shining through, because even as you said, you know, ER nurses are rough around the edges. So you got the double whammy of being from New Jersey and being an ER nurse, and you're still making a good impression. That's good.
Yeah.
So this motorcycle business, and I'm sure you've been asked this many times in your life. So you have worked in the medical profession for a while now. So you, I'm sure, are no stranger to the risks of riding a motorcycle. So why do you do it?
Yep. So I've been riding probably around 13 years now. I used to ride with an ex-boyfriend, and when we broke up, I was like, oh man, like I miss riding. Like, so I went to Barb's Harley Davidson, bought a bike. I didn't know how to ride it though, so I had to call my friend to come pick it up for me. And he rode my bike home. And for the first, I would say first good 3 months, I didn't leave the court. I would literally ride out of the garage, around the circle of the court, around circle of the court. Like, I did take rider's edge at Barb's to learn how to ride. And I absolutely love it. It is one of the best feelings in the world. It is just freedom. It's a great stress reliever. And I mean, when I was an EMT, I picked up a man's arm that was probably 50 feet away from him after a motorcycle accident. So I've seen what it can do. I've gone down myself. I was fortunate enough to barely be injured, but it's a risk you take. I'm a big believer in when God's ready for me, he'll take me. And it can be when I'm on my bike, when I'm crossing the street, when I'm sleeping, whenever's my time, it's my time. And so, but I feel like I'm here for a little bit. I think he still needs me. So
It's funny. Every time I talk to people that don't ride motorcycles, I'm like, I agree. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why somebody would risk their life like that needlessly. And then every time I talk to somebody who does ride a motorcycle, I get really inspired. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, why not live? And it seems like the experience of it is so like incredible. I mean, one person told me that it's like flying, but on the ground. And
it is. I mean, you can open up, especially down here. We're fortunate to have so many like back roads and stuff like around here. I mean, you can open up on a back road and you are flying, and it's just you and two wheels on that pavement, and it's just an amazing feeling.
What
And
kind of
just
bike
like
do you have?
I have a Harley. It's called a Street Bob. It's a Dyna. It's a pretty nice bike.
I'm a little jealous. I had a motorcycle when I was a lot younger, and it was a dual purpose on-road, off-road Yamaha 600. It's nothing like a Harley. So before I die, I will have a Harley.
There you go. It's worth the investment. It is. It's absolutely amazing. And the friends that I have made riding have been great. It's a whole community on its own, riding motorcycles. So I love it.
So you and other travelers, as you call them, are going from places that are not as hot as Newark to, and you decided to go to a hot spot.
Right.
That's like firefighters running into a fire. That's like military guys running towards the sound of bullets.
Right.
What about you makes you that way?
I think that just that I wanted to help more. Not that being an emergency room nurse in Voorhees wasn't helping. We're in this pandemic. Virtual Voorhees, we were fortunate enough not to be seeing the COVID, a ton of COVID patients. And an hour and a half away, they were getting bombarded. So I think just me wanting to help, me wanting to get involved, this is a once in a lifetime experience. And not that not every nurse is helping with the pandemic. I wanted to help more. I wanted to be able to say, like, I did this. I took on COVID. Up in Newark, we have head coverings that say COVID warrior. And that's what we're doing. I mean, every day we're intubating. Every day we're trying to save that life. And up in Newark, when not necessarily right now, but when I first got up there, it was hard all the death. At Virtual Voorhees, I would say maybe once every 2 weeks, if that, I'll experience a death of a patient. Up there in my one shift, we lost 5 in my 12 hours.
Wow.
And that was just in my area. So I don't even know what was happening over in trauma, what was happening in the other parts, but just in my area, in my 21 bed area, we lost 5 patients.
Does it take a personal toll on you when people come in and you don't know them, but when they die on you?
If you say it doesn't, you're lying. It hurts no matter how long you've known them for. If you've known them you were pounding on their chest for 15 minutes, it still hurts. Still to this day, when I perform CPR and stuff, I still am praying while I'm doing it. It takes an emotional toll, totally. But unfortunately, it's part of the job. You leave the room and you have to go right back in to help your next patient. So,
gosh, man, that's incredible. I don't know. I can do
then
that.
You go home and cry, but but yeah, you have to be able to put your big girl panties on and move on to the next one, which is rough. Like that day, we lost a 22-year-old, and it was just like
COVID related.
Yeah, she had comorbidities and wasn't well in general. But COVID,
that's awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible what it's doing to these people. The nursing homes and everything. I mean, the staff of those nursing homes, my heart goes out to them. I mean, they're the ones that are dealing with, so these clients, these patients, they live there full time. They know all these clients and they're dying so quickly. And so my heart goes out to all the LPNs, the CNAs, all of them that are working at nursing homes right now, because they're experiencing death at a whole new level. My mom with the dementia now, she has Parkinson's. She lives in an assisted living. God forbid I call it a nursing home. She lives in an assisted living. And this week, the governor mandated that every resident got tested. So it has been quite a week with my mother and her anxiety for this test. And in the state of New Jersey, if you test positive, you have to leave the facility. There are specific rehabs that became COVID units. And if you lived in an assisted living and you have a positive test, you now have to leave your assisted living and go to the other place. So it was very, very stressful, but thank the Lord, my mother tested negative. So she is living at her assisted living still with Bella, the Yorkie poo. And that was our biggest concern, was what were we going to do with Bella if mother had to leave? So,
and you with all the cats, right?
I only have 2. I'm not a crazy cat lady.
Right on. So back to comorbidities, and it's awful that you're around this much death on some days. Are patients dying solely from COVID in their 20s, 30s, or is that limited to folks that are considered elderly?
So I personally have seen the younger deaths be if they had other comorbidities. But I mean, suppose there's patients out there that are young without comorbidities that are dying from COVID also. The problem with COVID is what it does to your lungs. So your lungs basically, I don't know if you've ever seen a chest x-ray. So if you've seen a normal chest x-ray, there's a lot of black on it. And then if you have pneumonia, there's white patches and stuff like that. What we're seeing with COVID is by the time that it's advanced, their chest x-ray is basically whited out. I had a patient yesterday where he's actually an EMT. He's a first responder and COVID positive. And I mean, his chest X-ray, it just looked terrible.
What does the white mean?
White is consolidation. So, your lungs are hollow because they fill up with air. So this is all consolidation. Like someone described COVID basically as like cement laying in your lungs. And that's basically what it is. It's all like sediment that's like attacking your lungs where they can no longer expand for the air to go in.
Oh,
yeah.
And so then you just can't breathe.
Can't breathe.
Yeah. And so, if you have other comorbidities, it's amazing more people aren't dying, actually.
That's
based on
brutal.
that
It is. Yep.
So you said as part of your headgear, you have COVID Warrior. I think that's the title of this episode.
Yeah.
On our podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as a COVID warrior, is there anything that you want to change that you don't necessarily have in your control about your work environment, the day-to-day, how everything is going?
No, I think honestly, everyone's doing the best they can. I think one of the hardest things throughout these last 8 weeks has been the constant change. So like just the example I gave about the mask, like literally 1 second we were doing this, 15 seconds later we were doing this. Like being at Voorhees full-time, like I know more about like that, is just getting the information out there. Like our management is getting the message from like up here and they're trying their hardest to trickle it down to us. But it's impossible. At Virtual Voorhees, we have like 126 of us, I think, staff-wise. So they've done everything from send emails to we have a COVID board in the back break room. They'll come around throughout the day and try to meet with us. We have a new educator that literally just came on, I think like the week before COVID started. And she's been doing great. Every day she's out on the floor trying to update us. We have COVID binders at every nurse's station that has the latest like updates with what's required, how the test is being run, like everything like that. One of the hard things, any blood, urine, COVID swab that is associated with anyone that's on quarantine has to be walked down to the down to the lab. So normally, like when you go to the bank in the drive-thru and you have that like tube system, like sucks it up and like sends it to the banker.
Yeah.
So that's what we use in the hospital to send usually like specimens to the lab. Pharmacy sends us meds. But right now, anyone with COVID or presumed COVID, you have to physically walk everything. So at Virtua, the lab is downstairs. So it can sometimes be a toll to, one, find someone to take it down for you, or two, if you're the safety agent of the day, you're running up and down those flights of stairs. One day my watch told me I had 60 flights of stairs around. And I was like,
So wait, why is it safer for a person to run everything up and down rather than having those magic tubes do it?
Don't get me started. Rules are rules.
So I mean, if you had a microphone and you could reach half of America, 75% of America, what are you telling the 18-year-olds to say 65-year-olds, and what are you telling folks that are maybe 65 and beyond?
To the young kids, don't think you're invincible, because you're not. No one is invincible. Everyone, no matter what the age, you need to stay home. I know it stinks. I'm extremely grateful that I have a job that I go to 5, 6, 7, sometimes days a week. But you need to stay home, because this is not ending. And if you start to go out, you start to hang out with your friends again, you're going to see the impact. Just because the curve is flattening does not mean it's going to stay flat. And so please stay home. To the elderly, just please take care of yourself. I feel like when you're older, it's sad because you lose a lot of friends, unfortunately, as you get older. And they're losing a whole lot more right now. My mom's assisted living, I think, has had like, I don't know, maybe like 15 deaths over the last 4 weeks. And so that kind of stinks. But I just wish that people would take this seriously. And I feel like most people aren't taking it seriously until it affects them. Until they know someone that was COVID positive. Like, if I could go back in Facebook time and screenshot someone from 8 weeks ago that was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm not staying home, da da da. And then 3 weeks later, here they are. Oh my God, my aunt died. Like, I'm sorry that your aunt died, but 3 weeks ago you were saying this was all bull honky. Like, just take it seriously, people. Yes, like, it affects everyone. Like, and so I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're going to open up and the curve's going to come right back up.
Yeah. There's like you can say that it's all a bunch of BS early on when people still didn't know the data, and you might have been right. And like, good for you, but it just makes a lot more sense to take the more precautious route, and you might end up looking like an idiot if it's actually not a real problem.
But you're still healthy.
But you're alive. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves too, if I could just get it out to everyone, please stop wearing gloves everywhere. It is so dirty.
It's actually worse, right?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Like,
why?
Oh, yes, this is good. This is perfect.
It's cross-contamination. So, like, all right, so people that like wear their gloves into the grocery store, okay? So first of all, you're touching your cart, which if you didn't clean it off is tons of germs. Then you're going to touch a box on the shelf. Say you don't like that box, so you choose another box. All the germs from your cart are now in that one box that you just touched. Like, and gloves just keep, all the germs are literally just on the gloves. So if your skin is your best defense against any germs, along with soap and water, especially soap and water for COVID, because COVID, so the virus itself has actually a layer of lipids on the outside. And so any soap will break that lipid down. Hand sanitizer obviously also helps. And like, my biggest pet peeve is people that are hand sanitizing their gloves. Like, just don't wear gloves, please. Please don't wear gloves.
Okay, so hand sanitizing the gloves doesn't exactly help too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
are you one that wears gloves and hand sanitizer?
He's not, but he may know somebody that wears gloves.
I might know somebody that did at one point. I don't think she does anymore, but
yeah.
So the name of the game then is just let your skin be your best line of defense and wash your hands, preferably with soap and water often. And don't touch your face. Is that also? Okay.
Yes. And so it's funny because wearing a mask and everything, you're like, you have to like touch your face. So you want to make sure that like when you're out, you're washing your hands before you go take your mask off. Discard your mask in a trash can, not on the floor, not in the supermarket parking lot, in a trash can, and then you need to wash your hands again.
And if you have a mask that is reusable, what do you do?
Oh, these cloth masks.
Oh boy, tell us how you really feel.
Oh man.
I'm just saying, I know that they're the only option for some people, but I would like to know, how often are you washing this said cloth mask?
I heard more Jersey out of Mia on that one than we heard so far.
So how often would be a good cadence to wash?
Daily.
Okay.
Unless you're spraying it down with Lysol or something. Like you can spray it down with Lysol, wipe it down with Lysol, something like that. That's fine. But yeah, wearing like the same mask for an entire month kind of defeats the purpose.
What if you put it in boiling water for 2 minutes?
Well, heat does kill COVID. So I don't know though. But like the temperature has to be like greater than like 130 or something like that. So I'm not sure the boiling point of water, but I don't think it's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just getting,
you just want to get the deets. Yeah.
In case there are creative people out there, You know, there's no way around straight up washing it. Do you want like either by hand or in the washing machine?
I would think in the washing machine with detergent. Like I use the Lysol additive right now for all of my stuff. But any soap technically, because it can break down that lipid surrounding.
Lipid membrane.
Yeah.
Is it because it's I remember is it lipophilic? Is that the word? Or
Sounds
lipophobic?
right.
Hydrophilic? I'm trying to
He's a big word guy. He loves throwing out big words.
I mean, I'm a simple person. I learned in college my first time the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid.
Yes. I
and
love
I
that
still
principle.
live to that.
I think that helps people operate the world pretty well.
So on the when people start to come out, because it makes sense to come out, whether that's 2 months from now, 8 months from now, do you worry about people's immune systems being weakened so much that they actually have more problems than they would have otherwise?
So I think that, and I don't like to say this, but I'm worried about our children, because our children, I think, get a lot of their immunity by going to school, by going to daycare, and these children are missing that exposure. So they're being exposed just to their family members, which, yeah, you're still going to be exposed to germs, but not nearly as many as you are in a social situation. And so, yes, I think that, and also with the elderly, I think our children and our elderly are going to have a rough flu season from not being exposed for all these months.
So your guess is that COVID will be fairly prevalent through the summer as well?
Yes, I think so. And I also think that once you give, what's that saying? You give people an inch, they're going to take a mile. Like, I was so pissed off. I saw on the news, was it last Sunday was Mother's Day? I think.
Yeah.
One of the boardwalks was on the news. It was packed, and no one was wearing a freaking mask. Like, Jesus, people. Like, wear. I don't care if it gives you a bad tan line. Wear sunscreen and wear your mask, and you'll be fine.
What do you think about the idea? What do you think about the idea that like young people up to a certain age can go out and do the jobs and open their businesses and run around free, mask or no mask, but everybody who is either comorbid or at risk and old should just stay home? How do you feel about that?
I think that's dumb.
Okay.
It makes no sense because, no. Just because you're young and you don't have comorbidities does not make you invincible.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So do you want to ask the standard question that we ask?
Sure. Yeah. Let's move to the.
I don't know what she's going to say.
Should we call? I feel like we should call this like the something corner, or like the welcome to the.
We'll play with that off mic.
Okay. Cool. So we like to ask a question of all our guests, Mia, and if you've listened to an episode already, then you know what's coming. If you don't, no problem. It is.
It's not a hard question. It's
as follows. Yeah.
It reveals a little bit about you.
Yeah, we've already asked you harder questions than this for sure. So let's say that you are like a younger 25-year-old and you don't have any responsibilities and you only have two choices as far as what you're going to do with your life for the next little while. One option is that you join the military and serve, and the other option is that you try to become a stand-up comedian.
I joined the military in a heartbeat.
She was an EMT, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I actually tried to join the military years back, but I have ADHD, and according to the military, you're not fit to serve if you have ADHD and are on medication for it.
Oh, man.
It's usually a timing thing, Mia. It depends on how badly they need folks.
Yeah, right.
Typically.
Now they'd probably take me in a heartbeat, but now I'm too old for it.
And would you have gone like, even, I don't know how much you knew about what you wanted to do back then, but would you have tried to go down and be like a medic or be one of the supporting roles?
Yeah, I probably would have. So my father was in the Navy, so I probably would have been, went into the Navy and did Navy Corpsman, which is the medical support for actually the Marines.
Yep.
Right
Yep.
on.
So.
Very cool. Hey, so tell us a little bit about what you were like when you were a kid, like middle school, high school.
I was an athlete growing up, never a top athlete, but I liked having fun. I played soccer since the age of 5, I think. And then I picked up basketball and lacrosse later. And I was definitely a social person growing up. Fun fact about me, I didn't talk till I was 6. And so once I learned to finally talk, I don't shut up.
You're just making up for lost time, right?
Exactly. My mom said I made up for it though by the age of 8, but I just keep going. Yeah, I used to have a silent chair that I'd have to sit in after 8 p.m. And I would just sit in it and talk to myself, supposedly. That's what my mother says. I don't know, but I was never like part of a clique or anything of the sort. I would always just be friendly to everyone and everything like that. So to this day, I mean, I have a group of a handful of close friends, but I have tons of acquaintances that I call friends and I keep in touch with and stuff like that. But growing up, I think I was a spitfire, and I think now at the age of 38, I might even be more of a spitfire. I like to think that I'm highly motivated. I'm not one to sit back and just settle. So I have high hopes for the rest of my life, and hopefully I get to do everything I want to do.
So how much longer do you think you're going to end up going up to Newark?
Oh, so I actually took a permanent spot. I decided to stay on after crisis. So I'll be working just 1 day a week once the crisis is done. Minimum, just 1 day a week. And just because the amount that I learned there is just, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's something I'll never get to experience. When I first decided to become a nurse, one of the goals that I had down the road was to possibly become a flight nurse. And to become a flight nurse, you need a lot of critical care and ER experience. So I feel like Newark is like maybe a segue in that. I love working at Virtual Voorhees. I don't plan on leaving Virtual Voorhees. However, I need to expand out. So Newark is a great stepping stone. And then I'll possibly probably go across the bridge to like Penn or Temple, something like that, to continue in my trauma and critical care.
Are flight nurses nurses on airplanes?
Helicopters.
Ooh, oh, so when you get like airlifted.
Yeah, like trauma nurses. Yep.
That's like an EMT on steroids, or a paramedic. I don't know. My medical terms were all messed up.
All right. No, there's paramedics on the choppers also. You're good.
Okay. But the difference between an EMT and a paramedic has like way more training, right?
Technically, it's not that much more training, but paramedics can intubate. Well, depending on the state that you're in, paramedics can intubate. Paramedics have more medications they can administer and stuff like that.
So where you're sitting right now, going from your home to the Newark Hospital, how long does that take?
Right now, like an hour and 40 minutes. Once everything opens back up, I see it taking probably 2 hours minimum.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
I've driven in Jersey plenty of times. At a minimum, 2 hours.
Well, if you whip out the Harley and just drive down between the 2 lanes, you could probably shave that down.
I don't do that. I do love my life and like to see another day.
Yeah, just because she rides a motorcycle doesn't mean she does really dumb things on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's legal, splitting traffic like that.
Are the ones that end up in the technically in New Jersey it is. Technically in New Jersey it is legal for a motorcycle. I don't know the exact terms, but yes, definitely. Like just 3 years ago they passed that.
But you still have to wear a helmet in Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some states where you don't have to wear a helmet.
I know. In Pennsylvania, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Live free or die, baby.
But yeah, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Utah. Yeah.
When it's your time, it's your time. If I'm wearing a helmet, if I'm not wearing a helmet, is it really going to make a difference?
That's a great point.
Knows?
Yeah. That way, yeah. I guess if you're going 25, it might save your life. If you're going 55 or more, no way.
Yeah. Helmets break.
Yeah. Hey, so are you going to be an ER nurse until you retire, you think?
I think I will be in emergency medicine for my entire career. I don't see myself. I don't see myself ever. The only place I would ever go is maybe like an ICU or something like that. But I really don't see it happening. And I mean, maybe like when I'm 80 or something, maybe I won't be an ER nurse. But because I started so late in life, I'm going to have to work till I'm 80. So just planning for the future.
So it sounds like it's pretty active up in Jersey. A lot of businesses are open, bodegas are open. Are schools open up there?
No. The governor shut down all of New Jersey schools for the rest of the school year.
Do you think kids are going back to school in the fall?
That's a tough one. Do I think they're going to? Yes. Do I think they're going to stay open? I don't know.
Yeah. And then the idea of 80,000 people in a football stadium in the fall just sounds crazy to you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to do that, but I think they are going to try to put 15, 20,000 in an 80,000 person.
I mean, I'm a sports fanatic myself. I used to work for the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, I'm missing baseball too. Like, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, I don't know. It baffles my mind how people are like, oh, we need sports. We need concerts. We don't need any of it, guys. We really don't.
It's entertainment.
Yeah. It is entertainment, but that's what we have. Computers, we have TVs. Like, look at all of the artists that are doing the at-home shows. I mean, it's still entertaining to watch it. Like, so.
Let's go back to the Phillies. What did you do for the Phillies?
So I started in 2008, actually. Picked the best year to start.
Yeah, you did.
I was a hostess, and then 2009 to 2012, I worked security.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you still keep in touch with anybody in the organization?
Some, not many.
Can you score us the shortstop for the Phillies on the podcast?
Let me call and see what I can do.
Yeah. Paul's the network. He pumps the network.
Yes, I do. Well, I'm the scheduler.
He's
for
the
sure
closer and the scheduler. Yeah. So when you know in the movies and stuff when they say like somebody gets hurt or somebody falls down, they're like, "Is there a doctor?" Why do you think it would make more sense for people to ask like, "Hey, is there a nurse?"
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
30%. So one of my passions is traveling. When this isn't going, I'm actually supposed to be in Jamaica right now, actually.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. But I'll never forget on a flight, they called, is there any medical personnel? We have a medical emergency. So I responded. I walk up to the front of the plane. I'm like, I'm a nurse. And the lady sitting like the front row, like middle seat. And the guy that's sitting on the window seat turns like, well, I'm a doctor. I go, well, I'm the one that responded, and I'm a nurse. Who would you rather have take care of you? Like, I'm just like, oh my God. But I mean, hey, doctors deserve all the credit in the world too. I mean, we couldn't do what we do without them. So.
And vice versa.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would imagine, to your nurse question, I would think of the nurse universe, an ER nurse would be the best possible solution for somebody in a crisis, whether it's on a plane or wherever.
We have so much experience to deal with so many different things. Like a lot of nurses have specialty areas. We're, can I curse? A shit show specialty.
Yeah, you can curse on the show.
You guys are like the superheroes that have like all the superpowers at once.
Right. Yeah, we got all the tools we need.
Right.
Kind of like Superman, Wonder Woman.
But they're kind of, I mean, yeah, I guess.
I'm not one of these Marvel guys. I don't know what, or DC Comics. Are
you
into any of that stuff, Mia?
Not too much. I love Wonder Woman just because I think I am Wonder Woman. But
yes. Maybe that's another title.
I like COVID Warrior because of the hat thing.
Well, she gets to pick it. You know, you get to pick your title.
That's right.
I like COVID Warrior. I think that's a good one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're going to buy a new motorcycle, what would you get?
Definitely another Harley. Probably a V-Rod. I don't really know. I'm finding content with one I have now.
Are you going to replace the Jeep, or are you getting something else?
So I actually just got my estimate yesterday. It's $19,966 in
Get
repair.
out.
So it's being repaired, which is technically better for me because it's a lease. And so 3 years from now, when I am done with my lease, I can just wipe my hands clean. And I don't have to worry about trying to sell a vehicle that has been basically totaled, but not totaled, because it's a $49,000 car and damages are only $2,000. So,
yeah. Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
what else should we know about COVID-19 or your experiences the last couple months?
Just that it's been a trying time for everyone, and everyone needs to do their part to please just take everything serious. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. It's killing way too many people. I mean, I think every day we're seeing hundreds of deaths still in New Jersey. Like, yeah, it might be slowing down, but it's not stopping anytime soon. So
Cool.
everyone just needs to do their part. I'm doing my part. Everyone else needs to do their part also.
Yeah, and for most of the country, I guess you're saying that means stay home.
Yep. Unfortunately, I know it's boring, but if that's what saves lives, that's what you got to do.
Very cool. Any last questions, Daniel?
No, I thought this was so cool, and it's so cool talking to you. And I really admire what you're doing, and your emphasis on positivity, your resilience, and your willingness to run toward the fire rather than away.
Yeah, I learned a ton. I really appreciate you joining us for this.
No, I appreciate the offer to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure sharing my story.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, come find us on Facebook or Instagram and let us know what you think. We'd love to connect. Thanks for listening.